Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Oh, the guys, the mic is off, right?
You guys hear me? Hello?
Hello, Brandon. How are you?
Hello, Nicole. How you doing?
So for this session, I'm so, oh my gosh, look at you. I'm having a moment, you guys. You look, well, obviously you're an adult, so and you look very grown up and very serious in your business attire. Okay, this is my first time seeing you all dressed up business like, and I just want to take this moment to say that I am extremely proud of you, Brandon. I'm
Thank you.
very proud of the young man that you have become and you know the man you're going into. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to help younger kids and kids who are in college right now. I got a message from somebody who said, you know, I've been thinking about cybersecurity and maybe I'm going to change my major. And so I'm so happy to have this session. And then of course, there are all these kids who, you know, they're interested, they don't know exactly what their interests are, or they're interested in all these different things. And it just helps to have a real person like them who has, you know, gone through the whole process from high school to college, to masters, to career, to give some real insight. And I just also want to mention, just in case anyone is here who is not sure what they want to do or feel, because Brandon, a lot of people feel a way that they're in high school, and they don't know exactly what they want to study, right? And so I was really happy to have you here because I know that you didn't always know that
Awesome.
was what you wanted to do. So I just want you to make sure you just keep it 100, just, you know, talk the things, make sure nobody don't feel no way to ask you any questions, and for them to know, you know, it's okay to search, and coming here is good because now you start to expand your options. So Brandon, you are kicking off AIM Career Talks. You are the first of several guests that we'll have who are AIM alum, who are, you know, spotlighting different options and careers for our young people. So thank you so much. So thrilled to have you. And go right into it. I'm not sure, you can let everybody know your format, whether you will take questions during, whether you want to save the questions for after. This is your show. So I'm handing over to you right now. And I just want to thank you for being here and for the time. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much, Nicole. It's a great opportunity for me as well to also share to my fellow Jamaicans my experience and give them advice where I can. Of course, nobody's perfect, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it real, and I can understand the struggle, and I'll definitely not leave out any of that. So I'll save the questions for last. I think that's best. That way I don't get, you know, sidetracked into deep, long conversations, and I'll try to keep it brief, everybody. I'm not trying to bore you guys to death. That's not the purpose here, right? Exactly. So I just want to just dive into a little bit of a background into me personally. Nicole can go on and on the type of person I am. Definitely when I came to Nicole, I was a little of a troublemaker, right? I was doing track and field. I was a part of Wilmer's Boys. I think I was a little bit, I was definitely not stupid, but I was not focused into what I wanted to push myself into later on in my life, right? Um, I was just doing the rigmarole, just hanging out with my friend and doing track and field, doing just the basic to go through high school. Well, when I stormed into Nicole's office, Nicole, she basically see me and she said, Brandon, you're a mess. Make us sort you out. Right. So basically, she gave me advice. She gave me a lot of wonderful advice, straightened myself out, told me, you go to sixth form, you do this, yada, yada, whatever. And I got myself organized and right position to go to a school that I believe was a perfect fit for me, because definitely turned out amazing for me. My entire experience has been good. I like to say I'm blessed, right? I'm very, very blessed, because I've seen other students that come out of school and their opportunities has not been the same, right? So let me dive into it a little bit, right? So my undergrad was in information technology, for anybody who's interested. My master's was in cybersecurity, right? Definitely when I was going through school, I did not have a set career path I wanted to go. I was kind of like all over the place. I wasn't, like say, hey, this is for me, you know what I mean? Because I was again focused on track and field and just focused on coasting school, getting my grades, trying to just do what I got to do to get by. So a couple of things. So I decided to go to Florida Institute of Technology. I'm not sure if you guys know that school. It's located in Melbourne, Florida. And again, if I'm going too fast, please, anybody just let me slow down. Tell me you would like me to repeat something, or I don't want to swing by anything that anybody wants to dive into a bit. Okay. All right. So a couple of things, right? So when I went to Florida Institute of Technology, I did my undergrad in information technology, and it was a wonderful degree. I learned a lot. It was a lot of hands-on experience for me personally, which I enjoyed, right? Because that school gives you a lot of practical learning as well. And I got to do a lot of projects, amazing projects. And then also a lot of other things that beefed me up into my career. I gotta say, it's not just the education, guys. I would definitely say get involved with extracurricular activities. For all who has not gone into college yet, and for all who's there, dive into those, because that helped me drastically with applying for my job. I was a part of UCF. I was a part of UNICEF. I don't know if you guys ever heard of UNICEF. It's an organization that helps children in need. I was the vice president of UNICEF. I was in track and field, like I said before, and then I was also a resident assistant. So I did all three of those, and I tried to balance it as much as I could. And I ended up graduating with cum laude, which is a distinction in university, at my undergrad level. Then, fortunate enough, during my junior year, I applied. I off of a whim, I said, hey, there was a wonderful company that steamrolled through school, and I heard the acceptance rate was really low. And I took this as an opportunity to check my interviewing skills and my resume building skills. One of my professors had pointed this company out to me and said, hey, this is a perfect fit for your field. So I said, okay, I'm going to go apply. I didn't have expectations of getting through because, again, they had a low acceptance rate. And I did my thing. I went through the whole process, applied, and they told me I was one of the first candidates they called back. They gave me a choice of where I would like to do my internship, because this is a massive company. It's all over the US. They gave me an option to pick amongst all the states, and I chose my area because I was already living here. So I dived into that now, and that was a wonderful experience. And when I was there, I was very fortunate because I had a teammate who also got into the company. And one of the things he said to me was, he said that it's very rare to stay on, right? So you do your internship, a lot of people do the internship, they just go back to school, right? So I wanted to dive into that. So when I got there, I started talking to coworkers and I tried to find out, hey, how can I stay here? How can I do my part-time and go to school? I want to make it a thing, right? So one of the things I say is you got to make yourself significant. I know that sounds, whatever. So I saw projects that were massive. And one of the things my manager was doing was he was trying to build a software that would steamroll the process of training new employees, right? And I jumped at it. I grabbed it, and I was like, hey, I want to be a part of this. So I talked to the appropriate persons and got myself involved. Luckily enough, through all of that, I was able to stay on part-time. So I got the part-time position. I was elated, I was happy. It was an amazing achievement for me personally. So I was actually working part-time, and at that point, I had given up residence life. So this is my senior year. I gave up residence life. I continued to work part-time. And then before I even graduated, I got my contract to work for them full-time. Pardon me? Oh, I guess that was just a mic jitter. So yeah, I got my offer and I gladly accepted. So I just right after graduation, I got two options between my start time being immediately after graduation and I get a summer. So I choose the summer and I started working for the company, post that. Immediately upon getting into the company, which is what I recommend to you guys. If your company offers that master's program or tertiary level education assistance, any form of assistance, jump on it, guys, because it is a wonderful thing to dive yourself into, and you want to get on it as early as possible. For example, in my experience, I wanted to get into it early because one of the stipulations was that if you do your tertiary level education, you're going to have to work with the company for additional years to pay it off, right? So you want to do that early so you can have all the cards in your hand. So you get that out of the way, then you don't owe the company anything, right? So I jumped on that, applied, and I dived myself into cybersecurity, which was an amazing decision, right? I decided cybersecurity because when I was looking around the company, the opportunities were endless. When I tell you guys, the growth, the opportunities in that field is amazing. The salary, you guys know, it speaks for itself. Everybody talks about it all the time. It's amazing, right? So I dived into that, and I did my cyber while going to the while being at the company. I did my cyber masters, and I completed it. A couple of things I would like to share with you guys. So when you're in a company, one of the key things you want to do is get involved. Just like in college, you go into that company, get involved, try to jump into groups, try to be a part of organizations, try to throw yourself at difficult projects, try to meet people, be a part of other organizations. So one of the things that I got lucky to be a part of was a rotation program that preps you for management, right? So I jumped into this. And it's something that you have to apply for, you get accepted. It's also a difficult thing to get into because they only take people who are really driven and want to be a part of it, So I jumped into it and I was able to work on multiple different groups. So I worked in groups that involve in different fields of the profession, which I can't share, unfortunately. One of the things about my company is, so a lot of the work is classified. Because we deal with, I guess I should brief you guys on my company in a second. So just give me 1 second, Nicole. I'm going to bring up a video just to give them a synopsis on what the company
What
is
you
like.
need to do, Janelle, just make sure that Brandon has screen sharing permission. He's not going to encounter any problems, please.
Perfect, will do. So if I just try, would that let me try share. Let's see if it's gonna share. Is it sharing, guys? I believe you guys can see, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we can
Perfect.
see.
Let me hide that. Pull that up there. All right, I'm just gonna play this video for you guys.
Hi, welcome to Northrop Grumman. Let me show you what we do. Are you ready? This is where we push the laws of physics. Always something new in here. This is where we're creating the future of connectivity, from the bottom of the ocean to the expanse of space. This is where we put massive power into the microscopic. That's the future of supercomputing. You want to see engineering imitating life? This is where we teach machines to go where humans can't. And this is where we engineer tomorrow's solutions in space. I love being up here. You see, the technology we make is what makes the impossible possible. And it doesn't stop there.
Perfect. So just want to make sure this is not going to play anything else. Amazing. All right. Okay, so yeah, so that was a video of the company I work for, Northrop Grumman, and we work on a lot of defense contractor stuff. We also work on outer space. We recently acquired a company called Orbital ATK, which makes a lot of satellite stuff and rockets and all the rigmarole, the propulsion system that helps the rockets go up and stuff like that. I work on, I mean, I can't really share too much, but the planes that I've had, you know, like I've had I would say the opportunity to work with is like the surveillance planes and the stealth bomber, right? Which is awesome stuff, right? And the exposure has been amazing. You know, I'll just start by saying. So a couple key things I want to dive into before I go any further is I want to just, you know, share a couple things with you guys. So understanding the field, right? I think it's a very important thing to understand, experience, and have knowledge into the field that you want to go into. And I'm going to dive into how I suggest you do those things. Experience, I would say, you know, get an internship. I've had an internship in this before I go in, and I knew it was a fit for me. I would definitely recommend get an internship. You know, it doesn't have to be at a granular level. It doesn't have to be in the company that you decide to go into, but just get an internship from a local person or from somebody who's in that field that you desire. Because a lot of the times you hear from people what a field is like, but it's different when you're there and you see a lot of the back end stuff. So for example, in cybersecurity, I can tell you guys, if you're desiring to go down that path, it's not for people who are lazy. Unfortunately, a lot of the work is, it's busy stuff. You work overtime. A lot of the times it's high stress and it requires a lot of critical thinking. So if you're not up for a lot of those things, which I hope a lot of people here are, because you guys are Jamaicans and we know, you know, work harder than most people, you want to definitely keep that in mind, right? It's not lazy work. So definitely get experience into the field. You can also get experience by talking to other individuals who've done it. Let them dive into what the day-to-day is like, what they've gone on and done and stuff like that. Another thing is knowledge, right? Go and look what is offered there, because a lot of people talk about cybersecurity, but they don't understand it is many different subfields. I like to describe cybersecurity similar to medicine. When you look at medicine, right? Medicine has a lot of different positions post general medicine, right? So when you do your general medicine practitioner position, then you go on and you say you want to specialize in something. That's the same way cyber is done. For a lot of people, cyber is broken out into 3 categories. You have black hat hackers, you have white hat hackers, and you have gray hat hackers.
Progress.
Pardon me?
Continue.
Okay, yeah, so black hat, which is the most exciting, everybody loves that, is, you know, you're getting into doing all the illegal stuff, right? Intrusion, trying to find out how to do Trojan horses and penetrate stuff and all that stuff. White hack is like, you know, you think of like antivirus, you know, like definitely doing case studies, finding out how people do penetrations, studying those, preventing future penetrations, stuff like that. And then gray hat is like, you study both. It's a little bit of both. And then lastly is understanding. So, you know, understand what the position entails, understand what it's like, right? Understand that it's something that it's not, as I said, for lazy people. It's not something that you can go into and you're like, oh, I got my degree, I don't need to learn anything new. No, that's not how cyber is done. Cyber is done like this. When you graduate, the first thing you got to do after you graduate, when you apply for your job, you get accepted, whatever, you're going to start studying again, because you're going to have to now do a certification examination, right? So you're going to have to go and take a cert into whatever, like, because there's so many different types of certs. So every job you go into will have requirements into which cert they need or they would like you to have, right? So again, as I said, it's not for lazy people, and these certs are stuff that you'll have to take, when there's new exams that come out sometimes annually, twice every 2 years, stuff like that. You got to take upgrades to these exams. So it's not something you take one time and you're like, I'm certified, yeah, whatever, that's it. No, because the thing is, cyber is a continual growing field. You keep growing, you're going to keep learning new tricks, new things, because like I always say, one person penetrate your defenses in one way, they don't do it the same way next time. So you have to keep improving yourself just as much as the threat is improving themselves. And cyber is everywhere. Let me just tell you, every company can think of, they have cyber defense, because it is something they need, from a little thing to like from phishing, like in emails, to major things like app protection, right? And database and all that stuff. So definitely understand that this field is ever growing, endless opportunities. You definitely would like to keep that in mind. Now, what I say is, okay, so understand that when you go into university, you don't need to specifically do a degree in cybersecurity, right? A lot of people have a misconception on that. You can do computer science and you can still do cybersecurity, because post-graduation, you do those certs and you can trickle your way into the field. A matter of fact, I know people personally who's done that. People who've done IT, computer science, all those positions, and then they switch over to cyber without a cyber degree. It is possible, right? A lot of what you learn in cybersecurity is actually post-graduation, when you're working and you're doing the practical side of it. A lot of the major practical applications that you learn. And keep in mind that some of the cyber stuff is repetitive stuff. Some of it is not new, groundbreaking stuff. Some of it is very repetitive. So you have to have a passion for it. One of the things I always say is have the passion for the job. Don't chase a job for the money, because a job that demands high stress, you're only going to survive and you're only going to thrive if you have the passion. The lack of passion, you're not going anywhere. So I've dived, I guess a little bit all over the place into it. Nicole, I would like to ask if you guys have questions for me now. I don't want to go on forever, so.
I absolutely, first of all, I absolutely love the part where you said, make sure you have the passion for it. Go out there and, try to land internships in the area that you think you might want to go into, because the truth is that if you are doing it for the money, you're not going to be able to thrive in the field. So I want to, that was a big point. Then the other part about, at AIM, we talk a lot about obviously college prep, and we talk about extracurriculars in high school as very advantageous for your college profile. Admissions officers look for it. The truth is, whenever anybody is looking to admit you to a program, give you a job, etc., they're making an investment in you and they want to make the right choice. And when they see what you've done previously, the fact that you are proactive, that you have energy, that you're interested in things, that you actually pursue your interests, that you seem to have a dynamism, or, that's the kind of energy that they're going to want at their job. So they're looking, or at their university. So at the university, at the high school level, they're looking at what you did in high school to talk about college. And then at the college level, they're looking at, when you're looking to get a job, the job is now looking at what did you do in college, and so do master's programs as well. And so I think that advice of when you get to college, don't just sit there, go and meet new people, go and try new things, pursue your interests and see if you can discover new interests as a way to not only get the best out of your college experience, but then that also plays in to the job hunt. The other major takeaway, I loved how you gave strategy, Brandon, and I think that's so important. I love how you gave, the strategy around challenging yourself, go for the difficult projects, look at the opportunities available at your company, take full advantage of those. And that's a major key, because then that's the only way you're going to progress within the organization. Join groups. There are all these professional organizations as well. Your employer wants you to do well in this job, because then your investment would have been worth it. But every employee they hire that works out and just bosses things up, they're happy, and they're happy to keep pushing you to greater and greater positions inside the company if that's your desire. So
I wanted to add something to what you just said, Nicole. So yeah, definitely, because one of the reasons I left off that why I got that part-time position. So when I got into that opportunity, I started to dive into it, and they will tell you, for example, they'll tell you, hey, this is what we want, this is what this is what we expect to see, right? That's what management is. One of the things you always got to do, guys, make it personal, right? So, and that's what I did, right? So because my grandmother, she passed recently, but my grandmother always gave me the advice: when you do your work, one, keep a log of everything you do, right? Why? Because if anybody come back and trying to find out if you're doing work, there's a whole log of what you've done, right? With timestamp and everything. Can't get no problem. Two, make it personal. Attach yourself to the work in the sense where, when you have to go and display this work, people are going to have to come back to you for questions, because you've done it in a way that only you can really dive into it. You know what I mean? Because that's what got me the position, because sadly, nobody else could understand it. And they had to come to me and say, hey, Brandon, okay, we need you to stay on, because we need you to kind of spearhead it going forward, right? Which now puts you from a backseat position to now front and center.
And strategy.
Yeah, so that is what you got to always do when you're applying yourself to these jobs, right? So, because you have to understand, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, very competitive, a lot of young people gunning for the job. You have to make yourself invaluable to the project. Make yourself, hey, I add this little piece in there that does all this neat stuff, and nobody else can understand it as well as I do. Or they'll say, hey, he does it so well, we need him to stay. So you have to make yourself very, very, very invaluable. Sorry, go ahead now, Nicole. I just want to add that back, because that I've done that. I've kept doing it to the point where even my manager, recently I got pulled into 2 new programs. So I'm actually working on my current job, and I'm doing 2 other side programs as well. And so he keeps pulling me in because I make myself invaluable. Every time I get a task, let me explain something to you guys. Every time I get a task, I said to myself, how can I improve this, right? I never just look at doing the task. I look at making a change, because if you touch everything and you just change everything, everybody, to the point where managers know your name, people who don't know you, they call you up and they're like, hey, I heard your name from this manager. Could you assist me with something? Make yourself a bidding war, make yourself invaluable, make yourself needed by many people, make yourself known through your work. Trust me, it goes far. It goes so far.
Wow, that's a gem. You just over here dropping gems. Does anybody have any questions? Because I have a few. Oh, there we go.
All right, we have a question. Jabari!
Mr. Jabari! Go ahead, Jabari.
I'm here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sir Stern. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
All right.
I'm so proud of you.
All right.
I can't stop beating.
So my question to you, Brandon, is so I know that there is a lot about cybersecurity, but my question is, what do you feel about data analytics in cybersecurity? Where do you think that is going nowadays?
Oh, data analytics. I think it's definitely okay. So, like I said before, all the fields on the cyber have endless growth. Data analytics is definitely one of the, I guess, in my opinion, is one of the pillars, because it's a continual growth, right? And I've personally had the opportunity of working in data analytics, and I think through my experience, it's amazing. In the sense of what do you want to know, Jabari? Is it growth? Is it what you want to know?
So I recognize that well, so one of the things that I'm recognizing is that it's one of those emerging careers.
Yeah.
So because of that, you know, when persons are looking to, you know, step outside of what they know, right?
Yeah.
I was looking into things like those. So I was saying maybe if it's a starting point to the whole cybersecurity thing,
It's not a
because I know
starting
you
point.
need a base. So I just
Yeah.
assumed that that's where the starting point was.
It's not
So I'm
a,
just
it's not
asking.
it is actually cybersecurity. That's the thing. It branches out to so many things. It's not a starting point, and it's actually a great position.
Okay.
It's an amazing position, and it depends on where you go. It depends on where you're working for and what your opportunities are. Because I like to say a lot of things too is also management, right? So you need to, when you go in that position, make sure you find a team that fits you too, because it's not solely on yourself. Because some managers don't give you a great opportunity. When I was on that rotation, I've actually had the opportunity to work on 3 different departments. And in working in the 3 different departments, I've seen 3 different management styles, right? So the one that because at the end of this rotation, the amazing thing about it is I get to pick where I want to go at the end, right?
Okay.
So, and you only get to pick if you make yourself invaluable. Like I said before, you do great on it, then all the managers want you and you can pick. No, I chose the manager that fits me because the other 2 managers, one was a micromanager, and then the other one was like a little bit of a mess, in my opinion, because that person let things get to the last second and just start screaming at the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This other manager, he's very chill, very cool, laid back, and give you space to grow. And not afraid, he throws your name in the hat all the time. But back to your data analytics question. So data analytics, you know what data analytics?
Yes, it is. I know the basics of it. I was just figuring out whether or not it's a good starting point to get into cybersecurity, because everything is going digital nowadays.
Yeah.
As of course, you know, you're the expert now. So because of that, I was I was wondering where was a good starting point to begin with? Because if just as how you said you have to upgrade with the times, you know, I was thinking about whether or not, you know, that's also a good starting point. Yeah, probably for me, and probably for those, you know, students coming up to see whether or not they would want to get into that for later on.
Well, you know, the only suggestion I have to you, Jabari, and I'm pretty sure you're fine in this department, is understand that data analytics is also a high stress job. But I'm pretty sure you know that. And the pay is good. The pay is good, at least in my experience, and it's definitely a wonderful field. I hate the thing that I hate the most is I can't share specific details into what I did when I was on my position of my job, you know. But everybody who doesn't know, Jabari was actually like a tutor to me when I was at Wilmer's, and he's a brilliant guy. So
and he's a tutor.
Yeah, and I'm also a tutor there at Ames. So yes, guys.
Okay, all right, yeah, man.
Right.
Jabari is a wonderful guy, guys. Definitely reach out to him if you want to know stuff as well. He's a smart guy. But yeah, Jabari, back to what you said though, data analytics, I highly recommend it. Highly.
All right,
Highly
no
recommend
problem.
it.
Thanks very much. I just wanted to find out because I was doing some research, couldn't find anything. So I say, you know, more than likely you're the best person to ask. So yeah.
And if you want to, you can always reach out to me. You know my number, so
Yeah, definitely. I will do.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for that, Jabari. Anybody? Sean Michael,
welcome.
you're up. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Stern, I have a question. Do you recommend doing, as you did information technology, then did a master's? Do you recommend doing, say, a course like, say, computer science, then do a master's in cybersecurity, or should or get a degree in cybersecurity, then move forward?
Wait, I didn't catch that last part. Or do what? So I heard the first part, computer science, then cyber, and then what was the next one?
or do cybersecurity in university as undergraduate?
I would recommend doing the computer science first and then diving into cyber, because one of the things when I jumped into my company immediately was mentioned to me when I was doing my IT, and then I was going to school back to do my master's in cyber. One of the program managers that was a program manager in the cyber department, she personally reached out to me and she said, "Whoa, Mr. Stern, you have a background in IT and you also do cyber." One of the benefits here is that when you diversify your degrees, instead of just doing one degree, is that you have a breadth of knowledge in both, right? So, and that makes you more invaluable to the program. So definitely, I would say do the computer science first, then do cyber instead of just doing cyber, right? Because it gives you that depth, right? And that breadth of knowledge in both, and also computer science is a little bit more general, right? Because you can dive into different avenues from program development to, other stuff, like even websites and stuff like that. Why I recommend going there first is because when you go into university, you're not entirely sure what you want to do. That's just the honest truth, because a lot of people don't know the courses. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what they're going to learn. So you want to stay a little bit more general. And then I always like to say master's is where you specialize, I definitely think that today is a day where you have to have the 2 degrees, guys, right? If you want to, push yourself forward, have the 2 degrees. Don't go with 1 degree. The 1 degree thing now will cut it more. So you want to stay a little bit more general in that undergrad. And then when you go for your master's, you want to be specific. You want to say, I want to master in this. I want to know what I want to do, right? Another good degree, guys. So if you're doing like cyber or computer science, another good degree to do in my position is, if you want to go down this avenue, is MBA, surprisingly, right? Because if you have an engineering degree, doesn't matter. And then
For
you go into
cybersecurity?
I'm telling you, Nicole, because what happens is you go on to become a program director or program manager or so forth, right? Because the thing is, you can even do both if you decide. But when you get those positions, you're above. You're the boss. You run a program, which is massive.
I get that, but question. So none of your degrees have to be in cybersecurity or in programming or in IT? I don't understand that.
To do what? Go again.
To go into cybersecurity, you could have a MBA.
No. So that's the confusion I created. Sorry. So what I'm saying is you do the computer science or the IT, and then you go and do an MBA. Or you do cyber and then you go and do the MBA. You do the MBA last.
Okay, all right, I get that. So your undergrad would need to be cyber or computer science, etc.
Or engineering or whatever, and then you go and do your MBA, and then you can actually become a program director or a program manager. Of course, it's not the only way to getting into those positions, but those combinations goes far, right? Because when you want to go on to become, a bigger position, you want to not just be a skill-based person and you want to now run the program, you need that MBA. I mean, you can get there without the MBA, but it's a lot harder.
But you sound like you're getting there, because you sound like you know all the right things to do. Everybody you want to all the challenging projects.
Well, Nicole, that's why I say, the other path is make yourself invaluable, right? If you make yourself invaluable, your name is thrown around everywhere. People start recommending you for positions, start pushing you up without even noticing it.
That part. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you face in your role, Alum, and how do you approach them?
So personal challenges I've faced are, one of them is the mental state, right? The reason why I say that is, okay, so when you're making a difference in a company, guys, you're going to have a lot of haters and you have to get used to it. You're going to have some people that, for example, I worked on a program one time where I was teamed up in a group of 3. Surprisingly, they still do that in the companies. So they team up with people, right? So I'll team up with 2 other persons, don't know them that well. And we were given a project to automate something and make it quicker and more efficient, because it's a task that takes a while to do, right? So we had to do this automation, and my two other teammates, we had a discussion with our director at the time, and he sat us down. He told us what was expected, what he wants to see, and then we had our own team meetings, and we had roughly a month to put something together to demonstrate. I sat down with them and I told them my personal ideas. They disagreed. They wanted to go a different route, a more challenging route, in my opinion, and a route that was just not necessary. So I suggested to them that, hey, if we have difference of opinions, because you have to learn to negotiate with your coworkers too. You can't just pout, you can't do what you want. You have to come to an agreement, right? So I sat down with them and I said, hey, since my idea is different from yours, how about you guys tackle the thing your way and I tackle it my way, and then we reconvene at an earlier time, and then we decide how we're going to proceed. So I did that. I went my way and I developed the program the way I saw it. And when we reconvened, they had nothing. And unfortunately, the manager surprised us with a surprise meeting before our designated meeting. And I was already completed. I went into the meeting and I didn't try to show off. I tried to give them the opportunity to talk to points that maybe they could chime in on stuff, Nicole. They didn't have a clue. So the manager, right away, he knew I did all the work. And long story short, Nicole, at the end of it, when the manager wasn't around, they got really mad and they came at me hard, right? So that is some things you're gonna face, guys. You have to learn to deal with that. You have to learn to cope with it. You have to learn to keep your composure, especially being a Black person in a heavily white company.
Yes.
You have to learn to keep your composure. You have to learn to handle criticism from others. That's another thing too. I mean, that was a big challenge I had, Nicole, because I was very frustrated and sometimes I wanted to have a rebuttal, but I just bite my tongue,
Wow, that's important, because I think it's so important for us to just shed light on the fact that there are the like technical skills that you need, right? But then there are the soft skills that you need to thrive in our organization. You need to know when to bite your tongue. You need to know when to speak up, how to speak up, how to get people to see things your way, how to collaborate. All of those things are so key. So thank you for sharing.
Oh yes. And then
haters are everywhere. So everybody needs to learn how to deal with haters as a skill.
Oh yes.
They're everywhere.
And another thing is, remember, another challenge that I had too is, I wouldn't really call it a challenge because I never had this issue preemptively. I never considered it an issue because I always put my job first, but you got to put your job first. There's going to be times when you're tossed onto a project at the last second, or you're covering for somebody midway through their thing and it's all garbage. But then when you go into the meeting, people going to be screaming at you. What's the status on this? Where are you guys on this? What's going on? You have to ramp up quickly. You have to learn everything as fast as possible. You have to just jump on it. You can't tell them, hey, this person just leave and them just give me this, You can't complain.
Yeah.
The working world don't care about none of that.
Wow.
They just have deliverables and you have to deliver.
So it's a lifestyle choice as well, going into this kind of field and being serious about it. Right? You have to know what you're up for. That's are there a lot of women in your field? How are they?
Oh, absolutely.
And how are they managing with the put your job first if they have families? Or is it more, they're in more management? Is it more like, do you find that for your role, it's more young people, more people your age who maybe haven't, don't have those concerns yet, or what do you think?
Okay, so a couple of things. There is a lot of females, right? Both male and females. There is I would say they're managing quite well, actually. I know one, she's very brilliant and she's a genius at what she does. I would say also that my CEO of my company is actually a female, right? Wow. Kathy Warden. Pardon me?
I said, wow.
Yeah, and a program director that I work under was a female as well too. There's a lot of females, Nicole. Like there's a lot of females and they're in high positions too.
Great.
Yeah. So there's definitely a large female community there, and I don't want that to discourage any females. Don't let that discourage you. And also, I'm gonna just tell you guys the truth. A lot of these companies have quotas to meet, and they're trying to pull in females and males alike. They're trying to pull in demographics alike.
It's true. They're ticking boxes.
Yes, they are. They definitely are. Unfortunately, though, Nicole, in my company, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't see a lot of Black people.
So they're not ticking
Yes.
off of that box.
Yeah, man, them ticking the bare minimum. It's
Oh,
terrible.
dear. Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh boy.
Don't let that discourage you guys, because definitely Black excellence is there. And
Yeah.
you know, there's groups. I'll tell you guys, there's groups in the company. For example, there's a group called AATG or something like that, right? Where I'm a part of it, and they have Black mentors in there. It's strictly Black people. They have a dinner time and they have a lunch time. They always meet, they convene, they socialize.
Yes.
And then also it's amazing to get involved in that. Let me tell you guys, it's gonna drain your life because they want you to go to this. They want you, they have a weekend event, they have this, they have that. However, the managers in there, the directors in there, they throw your name ahead. They're like, hey, I'm going to put you onto this guy and I'm going to put you onto that guy. And that networking does it all by itself. So the first thing you do when you get to a company, tap into those things. Get
Yes.
involved with those demographic groups. Get
Yeah.
involved. Don't think that it's a bad thing. Don't think that they're segregating themselves. No, they're trying to help one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to dive right in. It can't just be about like the technical skill. It has to be about the people skills and the ability to network, because that's how career strategy actually works. So yeah, you have to be smart to the thing from early so you don't waste your time. Any questions? Any other questions? There have been great questions so far. So your advice right now, Brandon, to a high school student, just to sum up, would be what?
Okay, so my advice.
Oh, wait, Becky has a question. Sorry, before you do that. Would it be preferable to have a cybersecurity degree versus a computer science degree? And this is at undergrad. Would it be of greater value when applying for a job in cybersecurity?
Okay, so if you plan to stop at cybersecurity alone, I would say go for the cybersecurity degree. But just know that once you go in that field, that is what your degree is in, and that's what you choose to do, right? If you plan to go on to do your master's, as I said before, I would diversify my degree, but it is still good to get a. I'm not gonna knock a cybersecurity degree because it's good, right? But I would diversify simply because it makes you more of a like I would say a widespread candidate than just one person. You know what I mean? So, but what is most important? What I would say is most important is those certifications, right? No, when you do apply for the job, yes, the companies will pay for the certs, but if you can go and get those certs by yourself already, oh my God.
Tell me the certs.
Priceless.
Repeat the certs. Go over the certs.
Certifications.
Yeah, how long they take and how much they cost, what are they?
It depends on which certification you take, Renee. I'm sorry, Nicole. So it depends on which certification you do. So like there's different ones like CISM, which is like Certified Information Security Manager. You have other ones like CISSP, certification in Information Systems Security Professional. You have a lot of them. Like you can look them up.
I could do undergrad computer science.
Yeah.
They build on some certifications and do a master's. And that would, because you said the two degrees.
If you do both of those, you're priceless. You're priceless.
Okay, and that's what you want to put yourself in the best position. So I learned today in terms of our advising for students, right? You want to go into cybersecurity. You don't have to, in fact, strategically, it might be best for you to not box yourself in an undergrad, because also, Brandon, if you're so focused on cybersecurity undergrad, you can only go to a certain set of schools, because not everybody is gonna have a cybersecurity undergrad program specific as a major, but everybody will have computer science. So even broadens your choices for college itself. And if anyway, you're not going nowhere in the field if you don't have 2 degrees, then it don't really, you understand, like it makes sense to do the computer science and then build on the masters in cybersecurity, if that's what you decide to specialize in, and then do the certifications, which could allow you to move, right? If you decide tomorrow, if you decide tomorrow that you no longer are in love with cybersecurity, what would you do? And what
exactly. That is why I recommend doing the other route, because you can still go into program development, you can go into a lot of things. And I will keep you guys in the loop in saying that a lot of the computer science fields as well, don't knock them because they're good as well. And there's a lot of creativity in it as well. So, if you're developing apps and stuff like that, you have an endless amount of creativity. In cybersecurity, not so much creativity as those fields, I will say.
Just like more attention to detail.
Exactly. Like cyber is more like an investigative job.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like you're the police of the web. Put it that way.
Oh yes.
You're doing pen tests, you're doing penetration tests, you're doing all those type of things, you're investigating things, you're doing a lot of, like, sometimes you might do some case studies in rare cases where you find previous penetrations, how they're penetrated, how would you prevent this in the future, stuff like that, right? It is very intriguing, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go build a brand new app to do. No.
Right. So it's very much personality as well and what you really enjoy doing most.
Correct.
So key.
Correct.
But it can't just be the hunt for money, because you can make money doing lots of different things, especially in tech.
And that is why I come back to saying, you don't do this position with the intention of money. That's not, you're going about doing it wrong if you're doing it saying, hey, I want a big fat check. Right. You're not going to go anywhere. It's very stressful. People notice your work, right? It's a job where everything you touch, it has it kind of has an imprint, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just, exactly. It's not for lazy people, it's continually growing. You have to get those certs, you have to keep yourself up with the knowledge. So I mean, it is a high intense job. You're gonna have a lot of times where you're gonna have to stay back and work on problems that just arise, or you're gonna have to work on programs to meet deliverables, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, no, I really feel like I've gotten such amazing insight, and I love this because you're teaching a lot of people a lot of things, and also me, and I'm getting better at my job as we speak. So that's amazing. Somebody's asking if you have what certs you have.
Well, okay, so hello, Nicole, she get biggie, man.
Can you believe it, Brandon? Look at the time. She was, how old was she when you were at AIM? She was a little baby.
Whoa, yeah, man. Yeah, she has grown. What about your son?
And he's also coming in too. Yeah, from school.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Time flying, man.
But yeah,
Big people now.
Yeah. He's a cybersecurity analyst, you guys. So he's telling us all about the career of cybersecurity.
So one of the ones I mentioned to you, I have another one. It's called CI. It's called I can't remember off the top of my head because I just take the exam. I took it like 2 years ago. I have one of them is CISSP, but basically I get certs, right, Nicole, and sometimes it is program specific, right? So because in that field, one thing I'll tell you guys is the job change sometime, right? So in my position, for example, all of our jobs are program specific, right? In the sense where we get a contract, right? Whether it's with Japan or wherever, or the US government, right? We make this aircraft for them to their specification and what they design. In that specification, there is going to be things that are specific to what that program is doing. Now, you may have to go and do another cert in something else, or it might just be a general cert, right? So don't focus too much into any specific cert, because when you go into a job, it is one of the requirements they may list. They may list you are required to have a certification in this or a certification in that, right? The very beautiful thing is once you're in the company, every time you change position and you have to get a new cert, they will cover that. And don't worry, guys, if you fail the test, you can retake it. It's not a bad thing. Like nobody knows.
This sound like medicine. This sound like my sister. She does a study. Every minute she gone. She gone.
That is cyber. That is cyber.
Specialty. So what you're telling me, what I'm hearing is this.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, I don't want to turn any student off, because I'm remembering our journey, should we call it, Mr. Stern. I had to get very stern. I have to get very stern at some point.
Yeah, man, you and Jabari both.
And Jamari, oh gosh, we never knew we had this in common. We have to go exchange notes after. We should have had a pre-meeting. But listen to this. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like Brandon, the Brandon I'm looking at right now, like I could always see things in you, but the maturity and the growth and the willingness to run toward challenge and to continuously learn and to just be strategic and just be very focused, I wouldn't necessarily have said when you were in high school that like all of the meaning of course, you know, everybody can go in any direction, but I don't want people who think, well, I'm not this way right now in high school. That means that, okay, this job is not a fit, because the truth is you have to be committed to learning. It's not the kind of job
Exactly.
you sit down in and you, because you got your degree and because you have a master's and now you're just going to boss up the job. You actually be committed to continuously learning, and there's many fields nowadays, not just tech. I mean, even in my job at AIM, with my job with Gola, like I find that you just have to keep upgrading your knowledge, or else you just stagnate.
Exactly. I mean, you will literally not see a lot of promotions and not grow that much if you don't put in that extra milestone, right? And definitely, I would like to say, you know, one of the later career opportunities that I did not mention, and I've seen it a lot with a lot of my coworkers, they leave the company and they go on to do consultant work. Very low stress. This is end of career going on. You have to keep that in mind, right? This is when you're at the tail end of your career. You don't have to keep taking certs. You're now at a consulting position where you're giving advice and you're giving you know, like basically give advice to major companies. I know personally 2 persons at my company, well, not at my company anymore, who does consultant work, pays amazing. The workload is light, and it's a wonderful position to put yourself into at the end of your career. So it pays off in the end. So like Nicole said, I don't want to scare you off from the field itself, but just know you have to put in the work. You're not going to get there without putting in the work. And it is a job that demands work. Continue learning, like Nicole is saying. You can't just go get a degree and say, oh, I know everything. No. A matter of fact, a lot of cybersecurity, and I'll tell you guys, a lot of cybersecurity is learned through what has happened, right? These breaches that happen, they happen knowing that people are defending it, right? But these people see a new breach and they're like, Ross, we have to go to a case study. We have to figure out how they got in, what's going on, how do we prevent a future attack like this? That is how cyber learns, right? So it can be for somebody who doesn't want to keep learning.
Yes. I remember when I did a tour, a university tour, I think it was Trinity University in Texas, and the computer science professor said, well, here's what I tell my students. Everything I teach you in this degree is going to be obsolete by the time you start working. So you're going to need to just learn new stuff. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, the fundamental stuff not, but yes, absolutely. A lot of it becomes obsolete. That is true.
But it only sounds like a lot of work to me because I don't have a passion for this field. But if you really do develop a passion for this field, then you're actually excited to learn. You're like, how that breach happen? And you're gone go find out about the breach.
Exactly.
So I definitely see the excitement, the possibilities with the excitement there. Let me ask you something. You went to FIT, Florida Institute of Technology. What are your friends from doing now? And do you keep in touch with them, and what are they up to?
Yes, so I actually keep in touch with them. I have a couple friends. One, well, do you want me to say people that are specific to computer science, or people that
just generally? I'm very interested in what FIT grads have gone on to do.
Okay, no problem. So I have a friend right now. Yeah, so I have a friend right now. He's a program developer, and he works for a credit union. And his pay is really nice in program development as well. And he works on their apps for their credit union and their websites. And he also suffers from high stress load, because when that goes down, when things go wrong with it, and he's on a smaller team, he's not on a big team, right? Because these credit unions don't have a lot of, so you have to be ready for whenever things go wrong, right? That's how it is. And he's always having continual projects. Now, he has told me sometimes his workload will lighten up when days are good, but when days like, they have like their server is overloaded, or the server went down for whatever reason, or they're having other issues, like they implement a new program and it's not working the way it should, or they're having glitches between their mobile application to their website, certain minor problems, Nicole, he has to be jumping on those. I have another friend. He was the smartest guy in my year group, Nicole. He actually he was the smartest guy. He was valedictorian and stuff like that. He's an international. He went back home to Mexico, and he has his own company now. And his company, basically his companies, he manages and he generates websites for major corporations across Mexico. And he's quite successful. He's a one-man show, make a whole heap of money. Holy money, Nicole, just doing this, and he loves it. He loves it. He lives by himself. He have his own house, all them thing there, Like, I have that as well. Like, I'm very fortunate. Like, I'll tell you guys, the position is good, the pay is good, the opportunity is good.
So you bought a home now? Are you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is my yard. Yeah. I'm a homeowner. I have no debt. So I paid off my student loan quickly, and hey, that's one thing, guys. Make sure you get on top of those things.
Yeah.
And position yourself to build your credit score and make yourself, because that actually affects your jobs too. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, because they consider you a compromise when you have a bad credit score, because people can step into your life and buy you, bribe you, or whatever.
Them can say, tell us about this breach or whatever, we classify the info. People will obviously want to pay for that. Wow. Oh my gosh.
You definitely want to, and I would say, guys, don't be afraid, don't be timid, take on the challenge, because you never know. Like, I ended up in this company all off of just giving it a shot. I literally swear to God, I thought I was not getting through. I was like, I'm doing this just for, experience, just to see what it's like to, because I've never applied for a job at that point and stuff. And I literally have friends with 4.0s, and they did everything and they never got the job. So a lot of it is also interviewing skills too. I don't know what I said, but I didn't have a 4.0, right? And I got the job over that person, and I was surprised, what did I do differently? So it's not just getting the work done and whatever. The extracurricular activity sells itself. Being a very, okay, so if you want to get into the corporate world, you got to be social. Like that standoff thing, now cut it.
Not going to work.
Nope, not going to work. You have to be social. You have to sell yourself every day. You have to sell yourself. You have to make people want to be around you, love your energy, add things to the team. You know what I mean? That's just how the corporate world works, especially if you're like me, a Black individual. You have to sell yourself more.
You have to know, you have to just know the context that you're operating in. Let's not pretend, guys.
Exactly.
You have to just know the thing. It's like the college admissions process. Is it fair? Is it supposed to be this hard? Is it supposed to be this nebulous? Like, why couldn't it just, but this is what we have.
Exactly. And get used to not correcting people, because Nicole, I have a story about my internship that, it was a director came into so basically he was giving a seminar to us interns, and he was trying to basically introduce us to the company, talk or whatever. And he went around the table and he introduced everybody. He got to me and I mentioned Jamaica. And this guy made a whole spectacle about how it's amazing that I'm here and it's difficult for a Jamaican to make it this far and all that stuff. And I want to let you guys know, sometimes you just have to ignore them, because he's a director. And if you go and challenge those type of people, your career can be short, real quick. So
suck salt to wooden spoon and keep quiet. Bite it
all right, exactly. You're going to hear a lot of comments. I've even had coworkers, Nicole, trust me, the corporate world is different what people expect. You have people curse bad word. Some New Yorkers, they like to curse their bad word as they work. And they're like senior people, because they're free. They're more like in a position where they're untouchables. The baby boomers, the people who know stuff for generations, and they're not going to lose their job because the company needs them to teach a new heads, right? They're going to curse you out. They're going to tell you, are you stupid? They're going, yeah, man, Nicole, they're aggressive. They're aggressive sometimes. You just have to block it out and you have to just say thick skin, you know, just ignore them. I'm telling you.
Oh, I did not expect to hear that.
Yep, it does happen. It does happen every now and then because it's a high stress environment. And
Yeah.
I will say that, you know, I understand to an extent where their frustration comes from because they have this expectation that you're coming in and you know stuff, but you don't. And it's okay, guys.
Yeah.
Tell them I don't know. Don't fluff. If you
Yes.
sit down and fluff,
Don't
you're gonna
pretend
walk
to
yourself in trouble.
Trust me, it would be the worst. It's the worst. At that time that you get to hold it for a bad word and might get fired. Don't lie.
Exactly. Don't lie. Just, you know, admit that you don't know something. It's perfectly understandable, but you can't not know it today and then tomorrow you still don't know it. Make notes, right? One thing that has been a vital tool in my life is OneNote. I don't know if you guys know OneNote. I make a lot of notes. I take my snippets. I do a lot of things. I stick it in my OneNote. And I just like, I keep on, even when I write code, I copy my code, I put a copy of my code in OneNote, I do all those type of things. Because it continually, it sits there, it's quick to access, you can edit it in real time, it's a live document, it's amazing. OneNote is, ooh, I love OneNote. I can't.
Oh, OneNote. I'll check that one out. For
Yeah,
sure.
OneNote. Yeah, it's I believe it's Microsoft.
Okay, OneNote.
Yeah,
Okay.
OneNote, yeah.
Yeah, no, Brandon, I feel like the gems you dropped are so key, not just for people who want to go are in tech or want to go into tech, but just generally very, very solid advice, very solid guidance. I just want to open the floor for the very last time. If anybody has any questions that they want to send in the chat, or if they want to raise their hand right now, going once, going twice. And just like that, we have had our very first Career Talks session with Brandon Stern, cybersecurity analyst, super successful, super winning. And Brandon, I just love how you kept it 100% real and you dropped gems that definitely go way beyond, as I said, definitely a lot of gems for people interested in this field or tech in general. But I feel like everybody could get takeaways from this. And thank you for strengthening my knowledge and our knowledge at AIM as we advise students, because you know you can't advise college without having career in it. At least to some extent, even though we don't pressure high school students to have to know exactly. But when you were in high school, you had the interest in you knew you never wanted to major in history. You knew you never, you know, like you had a direction, even though you never knew it was gonna be cyber. Yeah,
and definitely, guys, I'll tell you guys, I'm very grateful in doing this, Nicole, because I have to give credit to Nicole, right? And I'm not saying it because you just invite me in here, Nicole, but serious thing, right? So a lot of guys, Jabbar will tell you, right? I was unsettled in high school and I was a little, you know, just energetic kid, right? Just
very.
Exactly. And you know, going to Nicole's program, the first thing Nicole do, she keep it real with me. She sit me down and say, Brandon, you have to straighten this out. You have to organize your life, right? If you want to move on to the next chapter, you have to also look into where you want to go, what best fits you. Guys, school, that matters. What best fits you? Stop looking at the school for its name. Some schools don't fit you, and that's okay. You will thrive. Trust me, I have done it, right? You don't need to go to a big name school. You don't need to go to the school that everybody preach about. Just go to where fits you best, right? Because I was very fortunate that the school I went to, the school that me and Nicole pick out, it was amazing because my classroom size were small. I had a lot of one-on-one with teachers and they were very strict. And I needed that. I needed that. And also like the opportunities there were great. And because I had a large alumni base, oh my God, when I talk about opportunities post-grad, insane, right? So I mean, definitely you got to pick a school that best fits you and you have to think about it deeply. There's a lot of thinking process into it. It's not just going to a school. I have friends who've gone to major schools. I have friends who've gone to public schools. I have friends who've gone to Ivy Leagues and they regret their decisions. One, it's either too difficult for them. Two, it's too much of a party school. Three, they get distracted. A lot of different things. Sometimes they just go to school and don't fit them at all. So
And sometimes they're going to debt, or their poor parents going to so much debt because they just had to go to this place.
exactly. And definitely, guys, for the people who have not gone to college yet, take up the opportunity of becoming an RA. It is the greatest thing on campus. They pay for your housing and boarding and all that stuff. So I virtually, basically, after my second year of school, I didn't pay anything at all. My parents thanked me after school because I did the RA and I had track and a little bit of education, which was amazing for me, right? So, you know, my tuition came down to actual jack squat. So, I would definitely say that you absolutely want to take on that RA position, because not just do you get that tuition, you know, like to you, you also get the opportunity to be in that leadership role. You get to do management, and companies watch that. They like when you have that high stress environment, you have to be monitoring other students whilst doing your schoolwork. It sells itself. You don't need to even say anything. When you go into interviews, one of the things they ask you, when I went into an interview, they ask you, give us an example of a group assignment you've done to involve people and like take on a challenge. And I had endless to discuss because of RA, right? That trumps you into that position, right? So definitely, I would say get involved on campus, get involved at work, get involved everywhere you go. Socialize. Don't undermine people. Sometimes the people that you undermine and you look past, them people that can add breadth of knowledge to you. They can add a lot, right? Because you don't know, when you go into these environments, you don't know who's who. So don't start any war with nobody. Don't disagree with nobody. Keep your mind to yourself. I always like to say, be the listener in the group. Be the listener and do actions. Don't bother talk. The bag of talking thing now go get you nowhere. Listen, and just execute. Talk less. Only talk when spoken to, and only talk when you need to talk, right? Don't bother go fluff your way to, not gonna now go nowhere. The people can, they will pick you out. If you're fluffing, they'll know.
Wowzers, what a session. Ooh, amazing. Brandon, do you have an email address that you can drop in the chat? Romario is asking if you have contact info. You have an email address people could
I can drop
email you at. Do you have any more sort of questions? We just really appreciate you being a resource today, and you know, continuing to be a resource to young people. I think you are just, you know, a stunning example of, you know, not being the first in the class, not being the one with all the ones and the 4-point odd GPA, not being the one, you know, talking about must go Ivy, being the one that, you know, was not necessarily the most focused in high school, but you did follow instructions. You followed instructions. We have to give you that credit. And really, you've grown, right, Jabari? He followed instructions.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one thing about. Sorry to interrupt. That's the one thing about Brandon that I really like when he was a student. As much as he was unsettled, you know, when they tell him it's X, Y, Z, A, B, C, it is X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and just
exactly. Unfailingly polite. That's what I remember about Brandon. I'm like, I want to cuss him off, like I badly want to cuss him, but he's so polite. It's like, I'm like, but how? You know, and it was just a joy to have him, but you have to do my work. So just, you know, thrilled and so proud, and what an example, especially an example that young men in Jamaica right now could really use. So we are going to make sure we use it. We're going to chop up this this video and share the like inspirational pieces. There were so many. I just want to thank you again. You've been amazing today. Brandon's email is in the chat for anybody who wants it. I want to thank every single person who is here right now. And I want to tell you that this is the first of a series of career talks that we're going to be having, where our alum in different areas just come on and you know, I'll give them Brandon's session to watch as an example of just the perfect way to have this chat. I'm not joking, I'm serious. And we just appreciate you so much, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank
All
you.
right, take care, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks again for coming. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.